Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Wednesday, the 7th of June. I apologize, I was off for the weekend. I was in Ottawa for a conference, learning how to be better at governance and things like that for with the military family resource centers. But in general, it was great training as well. I'd like to talk a little bit today about community and what does a community look like. Sometimes we think about communities and we think about like our big society, like the community of Wainwright, the town where I live, or the community of Ottawa. And we think about our mayor and we think about the policies and procedures and the bylaws and all those things that make up who we are. Sorry, it's probably noisy out here today. Um, and we think about all of the big stuff, and we might think about our community, like our church community, or where we work and the community of people that we spend our days with. But then there are those sort of pop-up communities that really do make up a lot more of our lives, I think, than we might realize. In particular, think about things like camping. Have you ever been camping? When you get a tent or an RV or something, and you go out and you spend some time at a campground, and it's amazing what happens. People gather around the fire, they share marshmallows, somebody's barbecue won't start, so somebody loans them theirs, or somebody gets a flat tire and everybody pitches in. There's like a whole atmosphere around the common theme, the common purpose of camping. Tournaments like that. When I was a kid, my dad coached hockey. We'd often go to hockey tournaments. And, the parents and the families would come out to hockey games and they hang out together. And when the game was over, the kids would grab their equipment and go home. But at a hockey tournament, people would, they would sit outside their hotel rooms and prop them open. And the parents would go in and have a little libation. The kids would be playing ball hockey with rolled up socks in the hallway. They'd all go down to the pool together. The sisters of the hockey players, because it was always male hockey players, the sisters of the hockey players would, go swimming and flirt with all the brothers who were playing hockey and things like that. There developed a different kind of way of being together when we went away together for a tournament than we had in our every average day life when we went to games and then went our separate ways. Well, I discovered it's not the first time, but it really is close to my mind right now. I discovered what kind of community can happen in an airport. Any of you were paying attention last Thursday, a week ago, to to the news, the Canadian news, you might know that Air Canada had a little bit of an IT glitch that sort of caused a domino effect throughout North America with their flights. So I was scheduled to be on a direct flight from Edmonton, Alberta to Ottawa, Ontario at 7:30 in the evening on Thursday. So I got there about 4:30, got checked in. They told me, "Oh, the flights have been kind of crazy all day because of the IT glitch. Your flight is delayed by 10 minutes." Not a problem. Great. So I'm upstairs and I run into somebody else who's flying on the same flight, somebody that's going to the same conference I am that I work with, I volunteer with. And we're sitting there. All of a sudden, we get notified that our flight has been delayed for another 45 minutes or an hour. Okay, no problem. Go get something to eat. We're good to go. And then we get this, no, it's been another hour. And then finally, at about 10 o'clock at night, they announce that our flight has been canceled and we are welcome to rebook on a different flight. Okay. Well, the flight they were going to rebook us on was at 7:30 the following night, so a full 24 hours after our flight, which would have brought us into Ottawa after the first evening of the 3-day conference we were going to. So not a good plan. And what we discovered, though, as we were going through this, the person I happened to be flying with, like just by accident, as we discovered there were other people, probably about 20 other people. There was a whole flight of worth of people, but there were about 20 other people that we kept bumping into each other. We would sit with them and chat with them and end up seeing them at the restaurant or at the Tim Hortons getting coffee or going to the washroom. And we sort of got to know each other by first name. And, there was a young family with two little kids who had been flying. I believe they had been in Vancouver and were heading toward Ottawa. And their trip was going to bring them back on Saturday, which means they wouldn't even have 12 hours where they were going. And we started sort of getting to know each other. I struck up a conversation with a young person who was flying to Ottawa from Edmonton because their aunt was who had been sick for a very, very long time, was scheduled to receive medical assistance in death on Monday, be 2 days before today. And this person wanted to be there for for their family, for their cousins, for support, and couldn't be. Then the mom, the sister of the person who was dying, wasn't able to go because of her own health issues, and so their child was going to go and represent the family and be there for them. And this poor person was sitting there. She couldn't have been more. He, they couldn't have been more than maybe 22 years old. Was sitting there worried about how do I, like, the flight wasn't even booked by them. So they were calling up the cousins and saying, this is what's happening. It's been delayed. It was an hour and a half drive away from Ottawa that they were coming to get them. And it was just a mess. And this poor person was so upset. And it gave me a chance to talk to them and ask them how they were doing and find out why they were going to Ottawa, and realizing this is pretty devastating. This is a big thing. And this person loves their family so much that they're willing to go all this way and to do this, to be present for something this serious and this difficult. And they allowed me the gift of being able to pray for them, and saying that I would be praying for them on Monday for this person and their aunt, and holding them in prayer, which I did. Um, and also gave them my card with my phone number and my email in case they wanted to get in touch with me to check in and see how they were doing afterward, if they needed any help. But we developed this kind of community amongst the 20 of us who were gathered. And then we've discovered that we're going to get booked. They were going to book us on a flight for Monday morning at 6:30, which would take us to Calgary and then on to Ottawa, and then at 3 in the morning. So we went to the whole bunch of us took a shuttle to the hotel that they put us up in. And we got there just after midnight, and we had to be back on the shuttle at 3:50 in the morning, at 10 to 4 in the morning, to get there for our 6:30 flight. And as we're going, the person I was ended up traveling with, discovered at 3:50 in the morning that they had added a direct flight from Edmonton to Ottawa for 7:30. So we went en masse together to say we want to be booked. We want to move from the 6:30 flight to Calgary and then on to Ottawa. We want to be booked on this flight directly to Ottawa, which we were able to do because we worked together. When we got on the flight, we said goodbye to each other. It turns out that people that we thought knew each other because of these great conversations we were having, we thought they were coworkers or something. They didn't even know each other. We just created this little pop-up community in the Edmonton airport as we were working together on a common concern. How do we get ourselves from point A to point B without going through C, D, and E, or waiting an extra 24 hours and missing the things we needed to get to? It was incredible to see total strangers caring about one another, sharing information, making suggestions, helping people with luggage. It was absolutely beautiful to see this incredible sense of a community coming together out of nowhere, with the recognition that that community would then just disappear. Not all of our communities have to be long-standing engagements. They don't all have to be lifelong commitments. Sometimes community can simply be that group of people that we gather together, we have something in common, and for a little while we share with one another our concerns and our hopes and dreams, our compassion, our physical assistance, lifting, carrying bags, and helping people run to the next place, the next gate, helping people just to be together and know that they're not alone in a stressful situation. That is that's the best form of community, isn't it? It's great to have communities that go on and on forever, that we know those people are always going to be there. But it's also really good to know that communities can pop up where they're needed, and then they can just as easily disappear. They can come together and they can come apart. And that's not a bad thing. Maybe one of the things we need to work on in our own society is recognizing the beauty of these pop-up communities and not lamenting when they disappear, but giving thanks for what they have given us in the moment. When we really lock onto that ability to recognize, give thanks, and then let it go, I think we will be in a better position to be able to help other people recognize this is what community can be. It doesn't have to be forever, but it can change the world in that one small moment. I know that my world was changed by this young person who was willing to let me pray for them and to pray for their aunt. I know that my life was changed by seeing this young family who, with two little children, was traipsing across the country, and they were such great troopers. I know that my life was changed by seeing this incredible group of people who were working so hard to find ways to take care of one another and support each other, even though they didn't know each other 10 minutes before and they'd never see each other again. Life is built on such fleeting things as these. And it's a beautiful life, isn't it? Have a great day with whatever community you find yourself in today. God bless you, and I will see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachael.